Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Brentwood Board of Education workshop this evening, December 7th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. I need a motion to convene the workshop.
Motion.
Motion by Eileen Harmon. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Cindy Safiri. All in favor? Aye. May I ask everyone to please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening, we have a special presentation brought to us by Ms. Ann Palmer, the Assistant Superintendent for Elementary Education, along with Ms. Trish Brockbank, Coordinator of ELA and Social Studies, and the presentation is Spotlight on Literacy, correct?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. Superintendent Ortiz, esteemed board members, community members out there. We're thrilled to be with you tonight, especially coming off the heels of Dr. Doolin's presentation and Dr. Leone. So excited about the access that we're giving to our students at the secondary level and the CTE pathways. And we're excited to showcase tonight our reading program, brand new core reading program that we purchased with the American Rescue, and we have a 6-year fulfillment. We obviously took advantage of that extra funding to give our students what we call the Cadillac of reading programs. A district this large, as you know, it can be very costly for a new adoption. And so, as Dr. Leone pointed out, we have been very strategic in how we're spending our money. We chose the quote to start: reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible. And we wholeheartedly believe that. We believe it is a fundamental right, and we think that reading is unlocks doors for kids. It is, as Dr. King said, the great equalizer. And our goal is to get all of our students, by the time they leave elementary school, ready for the content that awaits them in middle school and high school, and give them the confidence that they need to succeed. We believe that, literacy and math skills, and we know that that's, the board's goal is to develop rigorous academic curriculum with a focus on literacy and mathematics. And we believe that this program is equipping our teachers with the materials that they need to get the job done. And as a school district, that is our obligation, is to, put the best in our teachers' hands. And I have to say that we are very happy. We would love for you to come and tour our classrooms and see this program, and come visit and come look at our teachers in action. And I'm here tonight also with Ms. Brockbank. She's the coordinator of language arts. So the program that we adopted is HMH, Into Reading, or Novela Lectora. And it is a coherent set of instructional materials aligned to New York State standards, backed by the science of reading. But what we really believe is it's engaging text, it's culturally responsive, and it really empowers students to think about their natural and social world. It helps them live vicariously through characters. And we also know, having been high school English teachers, right, that all learning is social and emotional. And the best way to build students' confidence and self-esteem is really through reading. when they're having conversations about text, and then that text is leading them to ask more questions. I would like all of you for a second to just think about that book, that one book that, if you can remember your earliest memory of a book that impacted you, perhaps as a child, and what was it about that book?
Oh my goodness.
Guess what? That's my book too.
I was thinking of the same book.
Why? What was it? So what was it about Charlotte's Web that did it for you? Like what moved you? Well, I can tell you. It's because, when you think about it, right? You have these two unlikely friends, right? You have Charlotte, the spider, Wilbur, right? And then she discovers that he is going to be slaughtered, and she springs into action, right, to save her friend. So it's through that book that kids learn about friendship, they learn about sacrifice, and they actually learn about the cycle of life through that book, right? But then they learn about loyalty, and then they learn about the power of a spider. Like, that is an amazing creature. And then kids start to say, well, why did she die after she spun that web? And then it leads to more research. And so we always say to teachers that programs don't teach kids. Teachers teach kids. But you have to give teachers engaging content. Right? You have to put the tools in their hands so they can make that magic happen. And we believe that this program is doing it. Actually, we're walking around classrooms. Happy teachers, happy kids. And the teachers are very happy. And I want to just personally thank Ms. Brockbank, because when you think about an adoption and what goes into adoptions, it's huge, but especially for a district as large as ours, when we have 11 elementary schools. It's a huge undertaking, and I applaud you, Trish, having done it 10 years ago. I know what it takes and what you had to do to go into it, and so I would like for you to just share with everyone the process, because I want you to know that we didn't take the pilot lightly. We looked at several programs, and we did our due diligence, and we presented it. And so to the curriculum council and then to the superintendent, but I would like Ms. Brockbank to just share.
Okay, so thank you for having me. In addition to Into Reading and Arriba la Lectura being a comprehensive programs, it was, as Ann said, a comprehensive pilot. We had 54 teachers, K through 5, across all 11 buildings. We had 7 special education classrooms. We had 13 bilingual classrooms. We had 17 ENL teachers. We had 17 general education classrooms. The teachers were critical. The teachers were dedicated. The teachers were engaged and piloted these programs with the utmost integrity. And I applaud them for it, and we talked about it. They were phenomenal. We also had the support of the 11 building principals. We had the support of 8 assistant principals. We have 18 building reading consultants who supported the teachers in this work. My curriculum office staff, especially my teachers on special assignment, Noreen Miller and Teresa Jacalone, were phenomenal in supporting the teachers, support the students. So it was 2 core reading programs grounded in the science of reading and highly rated by Ed Reports. We piloted the HMH program against Savas. And it was a 6-month duration, 18 training days, collaborative planning that was done. We had HMH and Savas representatives come in to do the training, as well as we guided them in teacher-to-teacher collaborations, conversations. And I have to thank everyone that was involved, the leadership as well, for being flexible and allowing teachers to get here, covering classes and with all the operational things that occurred. There was an evaluation rubric that we created. We used some model rubrics, and then we we adjusted so that they were representative of the reading research and the New York State standards. And the final pilot review were presentations by the teachers to each other, to the reading committee, to the Curriculum Advisory Council, and to the superintendent. So after all of that was done, what was pretty much unanimous was the HMH programs for our kids. So, considering the recent New York State Graduation Measures Initiative that recently came out by NYSED, and what we all want students to know and be able to do upon graduation is to be successful in our rapidly changing world. And we believe, and the rubric showed, and the research showed, and the pilot showed, that HMH will provide the foundations in these areas. If you think about the portrait of a graduate and what we want children to be able to do, we want them to be effective communicators. We have, the program provides instructional routines that are collaborative in nature. We want students to have social emotional competence, and the modules, each module begins with a cell unit. It teaches kids how to self-regulate, how to reflect upon learning. We want students to be global citizens and and have cultural competence. The texts, the authors, the topics all have global representation across grades K through 5. And finally, the question prompts and activities will help students become critical thinkers and innovative problem solvers, which is the 21st century skill set that we need.
So we threw this slide in because we thought it was interesting for families and for our kids to consider the list of jobs today that did not exist 20 years ago. So when you see this, right, these influencers on social media, they're making a fortune because they actually have communication skills and they know marketing and they can sell. And if you think about e-commerce consultants or app developers, 3D printing professionals, all of these professions require students to have like executive function. They need to have time management. They need to be able to switch their focus. They need to be able to plan, organize, initiate tasks. They need to be creative. They definitely need to create. And then they also need to integrate with technology, right? So we love the program because it also has a digital side to the program. So kids are able to engage digitally. There's hard copy, so they're reading online, they're reading offline, and we are looking forward to even taking it to another level and beginning to develop maybe some project-based units of study around this program as well, so that kids are engaging in meaningful and relevant jobs, if you will, even in the classroom.
So now we're in the implementation phase, and we are working with the Office of Special Services and the Offices of Bilingual and ENL to roll out this program. And we began our professional learning with, and I can give it to you in 2 slides. I'm going to give you a doctorate in literacy in 2 slides. So what the basis, the foundation of the research it shows is that literacy, there are 5 pillars of literacy. And it begins with teaching young children, teaching our babies the sounds, right? The phonemic awareness, and matching those sounds to letters, and then words, which is the phonics, and how those words form sentences. And then that's when we begin to teach fluency, the pacing and intonation as students begin to read those sentences. And all the while we're building vocabulary, teaching kids, having them read a lot about a lot, giving them worldview, and all of those strategies that help understand text. That's when we end up in the comprehension pillar. So we are equipping teachers with a program that has resources in all of these areas. And this model pictorializes how the pillars work together. So the bottom tether is referring to the foundational concepts that make up word recognition. And that's, like I said, I think taught primarily in K through 5. And then the top tether shows concepts that are made up of language comprehension. And what's important to know here is that as we're teaching word recognition, we want word recognition to become increasingly automatic for children, while as they're developing and expanding with their text, their language comprehension becomes increasingly strategic. And as the picture shows, the skilled readers have those two skill sets, all those skills tightly wound. The tighter, the better the reader, the tighter the tighter the rope. So the programs provide these resources, equip teachers in teaching all of these areas. Specifically with the foundational skills, some of the standout features are the word recognition skills, the sound spelling cards, the display word cards, the picture cards, the videos. These, because we have this robust technology and the computer component, teachers can assign on through the computers. The students can work with these things at home. They can be displayed on the projector, and then because it's digital, it can repeat. It will repeat. Kids can replay. And what's really powerful and research-based are things like what you see here is the articulation videos where the students actually will sound out the letter, and the child is pronouncing, in this case, the letter T, and you will see the lips and the formation of the tongue thrust and the placement of the tongue, and these kids can play
Which is
over
great
and over
for
again.
our multilingual learners. So there's a lot in here for our ENL teachers and even for students with disabilities. I do think the technology component is what sets it apart as well.
And to that point, the teachers didn't just get their own grade, access to their own grade. Teachers can go for enrichment above their grade levels, they have access to that, and teachers can go and dip down into lower grades if they want to get into and target a skill with a child.
And the books are just gorgeous. They are thematic, they're culturally responsive, they embrace inclusivity, the themes of acceptance and tolerance. They actually have the character ed built in. Just from kindergarten, for example, one unit is how I can be the healthiest me. First grade, why is it important to do my best to get along with my friends and others. And so it's through the literature that they're learning about character education, et cetera. So it's not like we're doing social and emotional learning between 10 and 10:30. It's integrated inside of the program. What does it mean to be a good friend? How do we develop confidence? Where does it come from? What does it mean to be curious? Why was she curious? And I think it's the best way to have those conversations with kids is through these themes, because you're absolutely conceptualizing learning for kids.
And even though it's available digitally, students also get the My Book, which is, I think, in my opinion, some of the best illustrations that I've seen in a textbook in a long time. And it's like a compact little library that students can take back and forth and read the stories over and over and over again.
So they can mark it up, and we can teach them how to annotate text, so they can mark it up, and then they can read online as well. And what we love about it also is that kids can have it read aloud to them. So a parent can have the books, at home, and they can have audio, and so the story can be read aloud, and students can get the pronunciation, and they can get the vocabulary. So it has everything. It really does. It has a lot of components that make for better teaching.
So, and the comprehension of text, research shows that comprehension of text is reliant of readers knowing 98% of words. So the vocabulary, having a balance of fiction and nonfiction, teaching vocabulary in context is critical. The program also has effective lesson structure and integrated professional learning. So, this is where we get to the skills of comprehension and teaching kids how to make a plan for reading text. As readers, we know we always make a plan when we have text in front of us. If we have a short period of time, well, I have an hour here, I have to read this very long text, I'm only going to skim and scan for what I need for the main idea and key details. If we were doing a research paper or needed something, let's say for like a paper on the effects of social media, well, we would probably take out our highlighters and annotate and highlight the ideas that would support our argument in our paper. The program's set up to give students purpose and skill for them to be able to manage and create their own plans, and for them to be able to annotate, inference, skim, summarize.
What it does is it gives the teachers the engagement routines, the protocols for doing it. So the research-based strategies as well as anchor charts that teachers can now use to make learning visible for kids. So they can begin a lesson with one of the anchor charts that come with the program, or as you can see here, this teacher made it her own. This is like a Cadillac of anchor charts. Here, I had to take a picture of this. This is a teacher at Laurel Park. I don't know her name. I was in the classroom at Saturday Academy, and I just had to take a pic because it's so beautiful. And it is about making learning visible for kids. Kids don't know, where, that a table of contents is where I go to find different information. Kids need to be taught that. So the program integrates all of that as well. We want to make our kids better students.
Another powerful feature of the program is the embedded writing component for both programs. When I'm speaking about HMH, I mean both Interreading and Arriba. And going back to the core competencies and the portrait of a graduate, we want students to be able to write for real-world scenarios. We want students to write from a historian lens, from a STEM lens. And there's both a combination of writing to learn in the program as well as learning to write, which is the process writing. It teaches the concepts of script. It includes handwriting, both manuscript and cursive, and keyboarding. Now we're back to accelerating that digital fluency standards, which we're able to do now earlier than we've ever been able to do before.
And we're just in time for preparing our students for the CBT, for the computer-based testing that's coming. As you can see the calendar there, we have our ELA computer-based testing scheduled for grades 5, 6, 7, and 8 in April, and then we have the math. And so we are on track to preparing our students to take the test with confidence. You can split the screen, kids can type in this program. So we believe that through this program, we're not teaching to the test, we are preparing them for it, so they'll feel comfortable enough to take it.
And you can see some of those features that Ann was just talking about right on this screen here. If you look in the lower left, there is a sample. That's a screenshot of an assessment, a weekly test that you can send out, and give to kids digitally. And that black highlight, the black highlight right here, that's a blackout, that's a masking tool, and that is mimicked in the CBT testing. They also have the masking tool where you can isolate a line. There is audio. All of these stories can be read to them, and just like on the testing. And there's notepads for notes and highlighters that can be used too. So we are building assessment-capable learners. They're through the selection quizzes, the weekly tests, the end-of-module assessments, and the screeners. On the right-hand side is some examples of an assessment that mimics the NYSESLAT as well. It has a listening portion. And in addition to these assessments and the traditional tests, there's also inquiry research project. So as we learn more and more about project-based learning and alternate assessments that are coming down the pipe, our curriculum will match and be able to build those foundations for the secondary schools. Likewise, these assessments give teachers, the results of these give teachers the ability to know where their students are and how to build lessons for small group instruction. There are beautiful tabletop mini lessons. That's on the bottom, the picture, for reading and for language. So you could do a little lesson with a small group on reading and building the elements of stories, or you could be building some English language development. And on the one side, the student gets the actual, the pretty picture or the anchor chart, and on the other side are all the prompts for the teachers to be able to focus in and, target that skill.
And the consultants push into the classroom and are utilizing the materials that are inside of the program to provide small group during the 90-minute ELA block.
Likewise, if you're in the primary, there's systematic explicit instruction for the foundational skills, and there are decodables that match all of those skills. And there are suggestions and ideas for extending and for challenging students, for the acceleration of students in a small group. So there's both sides.
And then I'd be remiss if I didn't add that we also purchased a brand new 3 Cheers for Pre-K. So we have 48 classrooms they all have brand new reading program as well, thematic readers. The parents have the link to libraries in English and in Spanish as well in pre-K. And we're using the themes to create purposeful, play-based centers. And as you can see, we also bought, Wanda can attest to that, we went shopping and the classrooms are absolutely gorgeous. If you look at them, they all have the Lego tables, the stand-up, the sit-down. We built dramatic play centers with costumes and blocks and science and sensory. Everything is purposeful. Every station is there to build either a literacy skill, a writing skill, a speaking skill, connect students to mathematics and literacy. So the UPK classrooms are also absolutely gorgeous. Program comes in English and Spanish, books are in English and Spanish, and I would love for you to come visit those classrooms as well. I think you'll be really impressed.
So if we have play-based in preschool, we have project-based learning as the children grow. And what project-based learning provides is students with authentic, relevant, cross-disciplinary learning experiences. Project-based learning is inquiry-based, includes skill building in research, hypotheses, technical writing, expository writing, and it is the true foundation for STEM and STEAM. So what you have here is like an example of an inauthentic assignment for primary. This could be like counting objects up to 20. But if you want to make that real, relevant, authentic, and give it
Meaningful.
You organize the reading corner and create posters to let students know what's available. You count and share the number of books we have with the authors' last names that begin with each letter of the alphabet. Count and share the number of books we have on different topics. Now you're really accelerating the student learning and with relevance and purpose of why I'm doing this. It's more than just counting objects.
And we want to thank you. We purchased the course, the PBL course, and we are engaging our teachers. We started last year engaging teachers with developing PBLs around the new science investigation, so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And so these are our kids actually engaging in a project that's actually that's a sewer. And they had to create tools to help them get the things that fall down the drain. And so they learned about sewage, and they learned about what engineers do. And it really is, we're really trying to engage them in tasks and problems that they would have to do in real life. And then finally, we were super excited about a free partnership with Winemaker and the New York Power Authority. It was a connection that we got through Super Saturday, but We had all fifth grade students engaged in what it would be like to be an engineer of a floating wind turbine. And the NIPER came in and they engaged students. They got to learn about renewable energy. They got to learn about what engineers do, how they do it. They had to strive for neutral buoyancy so that they could get their wind turbines to float in the ocean. It was amazing, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
It was really amazing. I have to thank Anne Marie Matson, our staff developer, our science staff developer, for helping us. But we are definitely better than ever. We're engaging kids in authentic activities, science. We're getting them to think about what they would like to do for their futures. And I know that when they come home from school, they are excited. The principals, elementary principals and assistant principals and teachers are really doing an amazing job. Happy kids, happy classrooms, kids who are really, thriving. We're back, COVID set us back, but we are really making up some ground. The next slide is really just how can parents help their children, and I think it's just about building strong reading habits. So we've added a few questions here. The first thing is to ask your kids what you are interested in reading about. What do you want to learn about? Hobby that you want to start, take them to the library, help them set goals, create realistic timelines, and of course celebrate the milestones along the way. And upcoming parent-teacher conferences on December 13th. We encourage parents to ask their children for guidance, find out what where your child is reading, the Lexile level or the guided reading level, and then teachers can give you guidance and tips for how to help your children at home. We have documents that are electronic. We can print them for families and give them all the information that they need. And then finally, I know that this is near and dear to your heart, Ms. Felix. We're back. We're striving for less than 5. We've made a concerted effort to track attendance and to remove obstacles that are preventing families from sending students to school, whether it be transportation or healthcare or childcare. I have to thank Dr. Ramos and the attendance teachers and the principals and the teachers for making, just a concerted effort to build this habit of good attendance. We've begun, obviously, with just sharing why attendance matters. If you look at this slide, it's pretty powerful. People might think 1 or 2 days doesn't seem like much, but if your child misses 1 day every 2 weeks, that equals 20 days per year, 4 weeks per year, nearly 1.5 years. And so we are we want our kids to be in school. We have these great programs. We have great teachers. We have great administrators. And I have to say, after the first trimester, the principals are saying they're seeing results from our efforts, just from making phone calls home, taking daily attendance by 10:30, everyone, so that we can, make that contact, remove the obstacles, and the recognition and the rewards. We're not waiting until June to reward kids, so they're doing it weekly, monthly, after each trimester, and they're getting awards for most improved attendance. So, and it's not just 0, it's near perfect attendance, so you can get recognition even if you had 1 absence this marking quarter, because we are striving for less than 5. That's the gold standard. The 0 absences is the gold. Fewer than 5 would be like your bronze award, and then the 0 to 9, which is satisfactory, we can give a silver to. So the goal is to get more and more kids to set goals for themselves and families and get their kids to school.
And finally, some upcoming important events. Some of them we mentioned to or alluded to. We have the annual tree lighting tomorrow, and come out, bring the families, bring the kids. We are giving away free books, books to home on, come down the line and parade down the line for some great goodies. There's parent-teacher conferences, no student attendance on December 13th. Extended morning and evening hours on the 12th and the 13th.
Or 13th.
Or 13th.
Either or.
Okay. And grade 5 elementary science award ceremony on January 10th. Kindergarten registration, don't forget, Monday, January 22nd and through Friday, March 22nd. And then UPK registration, Monday, April 8th through Friday, June 7th. So some important dates to have.
And if a family would like to learn a little bit more about their child's performance, aptitude, skills, we're here. We're here. They can just call us, set up an appointment, and we will guide you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board? No? Thank you so much, Ann and Trish, for taking the time to present to us in the community. Some interesting and yet again marvelous things happening in our district for our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So definitely, thank you. I really want to say, Annie and Trish, and I have to call you Annie and Trish, you're very passionate about reading. Very passionate, and your enthusiasm and commitment really shows with everything that you do every day. Trish, I have to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it says that it takes 6 months. It doesn't take 6 months for a pilot. It took longer than that. I only saw Trish going from building to building. That's the lights, right? And you just didn't do this. You also work on many, many other things, including math and science. So I do want to thank you about that, for that. Thank you to Noreen, as you mentioned. All your staff,
Teresa,
everyone,
John.
Teresa, John, and all the teachers that actually piloted the program. And
They
I
were
love
amazing.
the fact that when you think about a pilot, and Annie, I know you too, it's
do.
not just about one group of students, you think about all of them, and that's what we do here. We are very diverse, we love our community, and we want to ensure that all of our students have what they need, and that's what you did, and that's what you're doing as well.
That's
The
right.
Board of Education here. So thank you for that. And I do want to know, my favorite book was The Ugly Duckling. The film. What does that mean?
Wanda.
What does that mean? You need to analyze that. I don't know why. So please, you can tell me tomorrow and think about that.
Because you had empathy.
That's
Maybe
right.
that's why, right?
That's
You see?
why.
I
That's
knew
what
you could
books
say that.
do.
So thank you. I also want to thank Dr. Leone. He's not here, but this cost almost $4 million. And in order to do this for our students, we make things happen here because we only want the best for our students. And for 6 years, so if you really think about it, we are investing on our students what they need, what they deserve, and he was able to find the funds and ask the state for the money.
That's
and it was
right.
approved. So I want to thank him and his office, Vincent Todisco, for
right.
it as well.
Thank
But
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
They're experts out there.
I'm sure of that. I need a motion to adjourn the workshop at 7:10 PM.
Motion.
Motion by Eileen Harmon. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Maria Malave. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
The way those classrooms are set up are exactly like when you go to college and stuff like that, you learn about how kids learn.